What? What is up, everyone? My name is Jett. Welcome back to the episode of MDK Victory Stop. Yeah, Cole Custer is a NASCAR Cup Series winner. Unbelievable. In a race that was garbage, to say the least. The first, what was it? It was a 400-miler race. I think the first 398.5 laps were pure garbage, and then the last lap and a half was just incredible. I mean, really the entire race, nothing much happened. We did see some surprises near towards the front. Eric Almirola took the lead from Kyle Busch on lap 10. Joe Logano, I believe, was the pole sitter, and Eric Almirola would go on to lead the most laps with 128, and he would also go on to win stage 1. Ryan Blaney, a driver who, the issues that he had earlier on this race, I was surprised to see how much of a contender he was throughout the rest of the race. Very early on in stage 1, he reported to have a problem with the shifter as it would pop out of 4th gear, so that he'd have to hold on to the race car, hold on to the shifter in 4th gear for the entire lap, the entire time in the race car. And then when stage 1 came to a conclusion, he had to go onto pit road. He and his team got a jumper cable or some sort of cable to stick it into 4th gear, but Blaney still, he had to hold on to the shifter a lot more than usual the entire race. So with that problem, Blaney had that entire race for him to still be able to not only stay in contention like in the top 10, but for him to actually have a role in a shot at winning this race shows how good of a car he had today. One driver though that did not have a great day was Kyle Busch. He fell like a rock very early on, who led the first 9 or so laps in this race, but then right after Eric Almirola passed him, he fell like a rock, fell outside the top 10 instantly. Halfway into stage 1, was barely even a factor this entire race, and he would just have more problems as the race went on. Now stage 2 saw some new contenders in the mix, including 2 drivers, Jimmie Johnson, who started 20th and made his way up into the top 10, and Martin Truex Jr., another driver that we're going to talk about here later on in this episode. He started dead last after failing post-race inspection twice, started 36th, and already made his way back up into the top 10 in 6th spot. He was really the only Joe Gibbs driver, I'm not mistaken, that had a good day, or at least had a top 10 day. The other drivers, at Joe Gibbs, they were just... But yeah, during this whole time, Eric Almirola was just gone. No one could touch him until 6 laps ago. Matt Kenseth cut a left rear tire due to a crew member hitting a valve stem on the previous pit stop, which caused him to get that flat tire and caused him to spin out. And that will set up a 1 to 2 lap shootout between Penske drivers Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney, as Keselowski will go on to get the advantage and win stage 2. Now, I will say, if for some reason you decide to sit down and watch this race at Kentucky, I say watch from stage 3 and on, because that's when stuff actually happens. So we started up the first highlight involved Kyle Busch. His day went from bad to worse. He lost it off of 4, not completely, but touched the wall, barely the right rear corner panel, and said, quote, the car was broken. And it would, as he just was not able to recover. I don't know what was the issue going on with his car, but for some reason he was just not able to just stay on the racetrack. Started falling back and back and back, and then having that issue, losing it off of 4. Didn't spin it, but it was not a happy day for the 18 camp, let's just say, here today. Speaking of Joe Gibbs, his teammate Martin Truex Jr., who, like I said earlier, started 36 and made his way up until the top 10. He was able to then pass Brad Keselowski for the race lead, who took the lead after winning stage 2 with 86 laps to go. Now, this set up a long green flag run, which I thought, it's just going to go all the way to the caution. I thought, Truex is going to take this thing to the bank. Not exactly. 30 laps to go is when things started to get crazy here. So this is during when pit cycles were taking place. 38 laps ago, caution comes out for debris, more like from Brendan Poole's car. Well, because of that, Austin Dillon, who was scheduled to go on to pit road, as soon as he heard the caution was out, he immediately turned right to get off of pit road, stay on the racetrack, and with that transition from the apron to the racetrack, he lost control of it, tapped the outside wall a bit, but it was enough to bring out the caution once again. Now, you know the phrase, caution breeds cautions. Well, today was no different. 14 laps later, with 24 to go, another caution would come out with John Nemechek, who smacked the outside wall, caused pretty extensive damage to the right side of his race car, brought out the caution. 19 laps ago, we saw one of our top contenders get involved in an accident. So Jimmie Johnson, who really had a really good car, I thought one of the fastest Chevrolets in this race today. In the previous restart, he started 9th and made his way all the way up to 3rd place with the freshest tires. So when this restart was coming with 19 to go, we thought, okay, Johnson's in the catbird seat. Well, no. When the restart came out, Keselowski, who laid back, really back, got a huge run. Jimmy got a good run, went below Jimmy Johnson to try and make it 3 wide. Johnson made a really bad block and ends up turning himself to bring out another caution and would ruin another opportunity for Johnson to have a really good race. I swear, it sucks being a Jimmy fan. There's so many times Johnson's had opportunities to have good finishes and then something happens, whether it's his fault or someone else's fault. God, I hate this season. When 14 laps ago took place, Kevin Harvick was sitting in the 3rd position on the inside lane. Now, Harvick, he did not have the best car. He had to say about a top 10 car, but he didn't have a race-winning car. Well, he tried to win this race. Wow, what a pass that he made with 14 laps ago on the restart. Made an incredible 3-way move underneath Blaney and Truex, and he was able to clear both of them off of 2. But then Truex, he clearly had the better car, was starting to run down Harvick, and was able to, I believe, even pass Harvick with just under 10 laps to go. So when Truex back out in front, we thought, okay, this thing is done. No. 7 laps ago, Matt Kenseth looked like he got turned by Ryan Blaney in the middle of 3 and 4. Didn't hit anything, but was still able to bring out the caution. And this set up this incredible 2-lap shootout. Starts off with the front 2 being Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Cole Custer, sitting I believe in row 2, gets a great push from Matt DiBenedetto, was able to make a 3-wide pass for 3rd place, get a run on both Truex and Harvick. Truex then nearly turns Harvick on the back straightaway. Then entering 3 and 4, Harvick slides up into Truex Jr., and that allows for both Custer and Blaney to get incredible runs, which sets up this 4-wide battle at the final lap. Blaney below the apron hits a bump, loses control of his car, slams Kevin Harvick, and that allows rookie Cole Custer to go on by into 1 and 2 with the race lead on the final lap. And Custer will go on to win his first NASCAR Cup Series race at a rookie at Kentucky. It was, for a race that was pure garbage, that was an incredible 2 laps. I will give you credit on that. Kentucky still sucks, and so does this package, but still, incredible restart, incredible finish. Let's take a look at the unofficial results to my right, to your guys' left. Cole Custer wins for the first time in his NASCAR Cup Series career, only led 5 laps, but most importantly, he led the lap that mattered most on the final lap. He's now in the All-Star race, and more importantly, he is now in the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr., who led the second most laps, if I'm not mistaken, comes home in 2nd place. I thought he had the best car. I personally thought so. I thought he was going to go run away with this thing. But no, comes home in 2nd place. Matt DiBenedetto, incredible run for him in 3rd place. He had a top 10 car the entire day. Very solid race car. Ends up coming home with the 3rd place after all the carnage that took place with 2 on the final lap. Nice top 3 run for him. Kevin Harvick, even with that massive tire rub on the final lap, was still able to salvage a 4th place run. 5th place is Kurt Busch, the defending series champion. Ryan Blaney, even with all the issues he had with the shifter problems, still nice run for him in the 6th place after a potential race-winning car. I shouldn't say potential. He had a race-winning car. I mean, him and Truex, I felt like were the 2 drivers that had a shot at winning this thing, but because of that incident and him going through the apron and hitting that massive bump, which caused him to lose control of his car, body slam Harvick, he ultimately fell back to the 6th spot. How about Christopher Bell? Another rookie, 7th place run for him. I'll say that 95 team has been putting on some solid runs so far in recent weeks after a horrific start to the 2020 season. Nice couple weeks for that 95 team. Good 7th place run for him. 8th place is Eric Almirola, who led the most laps with 128. He even said over the radio, I think, when he was caught back in traffic after that stage 1 victory, dirty air was just all over the place. And that ultimately, I think, what killed his chances, because it looked like his car was set up to be out in front, because he did start, I believe, 1st or 2nd. He started in 2nd place, if I'm not mistaken, on the front row. So his car was clearly set up for the long run. Clearly not set up for traffic, as he could not get out of it. Doesn't matter how good of a car he had, he just could not get out of traffic. He got a 10th place, top 10 effort, 8th specifically there for Eric Almirola, with Keselowski 9th and Tyler Reddick, another rookie, in 10th place. Byron, Hamlin, Dylan, Boyer, Clint Boyer and Joe Logano make up the top 15, with also Ty Dillon, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Alex Bowman, and Chris Buescher the top 20. Here are some other notables: Kyle Busch 21st, Eric Jones 22nd, Chase Elliott 23rd, Matt Kenseth in the 25th spot, and Bubba Wallace in the 27th position. It was a really odd day for the Gibbs cars. I mean, they just sucked. They just sucked. Outside of Truex, everyone else just sucked. Hamlin, yeah, he finished in the top 15, but he was really 12th place, I should say. He was really outside the top 20 a good part, if not really almost all of the entire race. He was just nowhere near the top 20, nowhere near the top 15. He really sucked. Busch started great and then fell back tremendously. Eric Jones was non-existent. I didn't hear a single word from him all race long. It was just a very odd day for the Gibbs camp. Again, Truex was the only one that showed some form of speed. Same thing could be said for the Hendrick drivers. Really, to be honest, Johnson was the only driver that I saw that had speed. Yeah, Chase Elliott, he started in the top 10 at the start of the race, but outside from that, he just quickly fell back. As I said earlier, he finished 23rd. Alex Bowman, barely heard anything from him. Byron, he had a few shines a few flashes of a speed in the middle portion of the race, but ultimately was just not there. Johnson was the only one that showed speed. In a restart, he went from 9th to 3rd in one lap, I think with 38 laps to go. He had speed. I thought he might have a shot at winning, if not at least a top 5 finish, until he basically spun himself out trying to throw a horrendous block on Keselowski. So very odd day for the Gibbs camp. Very weird day for the Hendrick camp for Jimmy to be the fastest driver. Usually it's Elliott or Bowman. But overall, it was a really fun restart, but still overall horrific race. Kentucky is just a track that I don't think anyone has ever, like, since it came to the Cup circuit in 2011, I don't think anyone has ever enjoyed Kentucky as a race. I think the closest was maybe 2015, 2016. I mean, 2015 had a good battle between Kyle Busch and Logano, but outside of that, I don't think there has been any sort of good moments at Kentucky. And on top of that, with the package, I mean, for God's sakes, Matt Kenseth even said this when describing the package or describing the racing at Kentucky. I think that pretty much sums up. Kentucky can be a good racetrack. Unfortunately, they decided to repave this place, specifically with turns 3 and 4, how bad it was. 2014, 2015, it had really good racing, at least much better than racing than nowadays, because you had multiple racing grooves. It was very old, very bumpy. Now it's smooth. No racing, really one passing lane. Doesn't create fun racing. But, regardless of all that, we can put that aside because Wednesday is the NASCAR All-Star race, and I think it's happened to be the greatest All-Star race, or at least one of the most anticipated All-Star race in its history. We go to Bristol. We're now going to have underglow lights underneath the Cup bodies. Choose cone. Well, there's one thing, the number placement, I'm not excited about that, but the choose cone, underglow under the race cars, $1 million on the line at Bristol. And if it's going to be anywhere similar to how the racing was at Bristol when we went back there, I think in June, we're going to have a lot to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't even care about Kentucky. It happened. Move it to the side. I care about Bristol. Overall, I give this race a 3 out of 10. I would have given this race a 1 out of 10 if it wasn't for that final lap battle. But yeah, I hate Kentucky. Hate this package. Yeah, can't wait for Bristol. But that's done. That's enough for me. What are you guys' thoughts on this race in the comment section down below? Did you like it? Did you not? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. But until next time, my name is Jeff from MDK, and I'll see you guys next time.